morning. It's Eric from Perry Hill Farms. It is Saturday and Christmas is coming upon us. I have some time off coming up for Christmas week, so need to get some stuff done on my time off. That doesn't sound right, does it? Get stuff done on your time off. But things need to get done, and I've got trying to get rid of that stump. You can see it burning in the background there. And but let me turn this around, show you what we're dealing with here. So with the smokehouse, I did not, finish framing this up with concrete. We were torn between building a firebox, using this stove, and then building a shelter over the top of this thing. That's what I'm going to do this Christmas week. So what I was going to do today is see if I can get this rusted out pipe. I've got some new pipe. Put the new pipe in, see where my designated spot should be, which should be identical. And then I'm going to have to set a platform for building a fire brick box. And so I've been looking at a few different ways I can do that. My biggest problem is figuring out a door. Now I can try to use that door that's on the front. That's possible. And so that's the big debate. As I've been feeding the animals this morning and taking care of everything, I've been thinking about that, what to do. And so you can just go along with my journey as I try to figure out what I'm gonna do on this thing. But it needs to be concreted and covered so we can protect it better, make it last longer, and that'll give us an area up here to work on when we're smoking stuff. And also we can keep it dry out of the weather. So let's see what we can get into. There we go. Finally. That was way harder than it should have been. After a lot of consideration, I think I'm going to do it similar to the way I had it done here. Concrete the pipe, except for the small piece that elbows down to this stove. I'm going to make this bottom part better, maybe even put blocks on the bottom, get this sitting level, set it on where it connects to the pipe. I'm going to go ahead and start a fire in this thing, treat it, get it cleaned up, have it ready to set. Go ahead and put the pipe in, build the frame so I can saccrete that. So that way if this ever rusts out, which it will over time, even with just heat, but once I get this cover built, it'll help protect this. I can cover that under this when we have a cover to keep rain off of it. I can keep it covered when we're not using it, preserve that a lot easier, and I'll make this a little wider so I can get in around the stove and treat it if I need to. But I think for our purposes, that's going to work best. Trying to build a firebox, figure out how to build a door on that firebox, especially with it sitting so low to the ground. I think I'm going to stick with what we're doing, except for modify it, make it a little better where the pipe doesn't rust. or at least if it rusts out, it's got a permanent pipe going to the smokehouse. This will help preserve the stove, the pipe, and the smokehouse once I get this finished. So I think that's what we're going to do now. We're going to get this fire started on this thing, get it red hot, treat it real good. I'm going to run to town, get a couple things, and try to frame up this thing. So this will probably be a few parts to get this accomplished video, but this is just my brainstorming, trying to figure out what I want to do. Fire brick, I like that idea, but it will cost quite a bit more money to factor that in, saccrete it all that stuff. For what we do, I think this will be sufficient. This is a good stove. It's still solid. It's got a little just rust from moisture that's got on it over the last 6 months to a year, but just treating that, seasoning it, will make that a lot better. So we're going with that plan. We'll see how it works out. All right, so we got a fire going. That's gonna start heating up. I'm gonna blow it off real good, scratch it off real good, and start getting some grease on it. When it gets hot, start letting it season some. I'm just gonna get that cast iron good and hot and grease it up. All right, so got a fire going, getting it hot. Scrub a little oil on this thing, cracks and crevices. Just using some old vegetable oil just to coat it real good. It's smoking on the side of it. That will help season it, protect it. Then I'll coat it again after I get it cleaned off here and seasoned a little bit. I'll hit another coat, a layer on it. Clean this up and use some fresh grease. Try to season it up good. Take this off for a second. Scratch this end apart. Take that, slide it to the side. Clean this out. Alright, this is what it looks like now. So I'm letting it completely cool. You can see it's a lot better. Seasoned up real good. Just burning the rest of the oil off of it. We'll move it, and I'm gonna start moving these blocks and start working on that. Alright, so to build this frame, I've got to build a frame that comes around, I think I'm going to do 3 inches on each side. And then I'll have about 3.5 inches on top. Just make it an even number of 14 here, and that should give me something like this. I've got to frame it up, and it'll come straight out to the end of the pipe. So I'll put a pipe in, run it out there, and then I'll have to pour that frame a little bit at a time. Just fill it up and smooth it out on the top. And it'll be concreted in just like this one and eventually disappear. I think that's the ticket right there. I've just got to be able to build it, snug it here. And I think I have some pretty thick plywood I can do it with. Build a good frame, solid. I'll have to put some, probably have to put some braces on the outside of the wood, like L braces, you know, just to lay on the ground so that when I start pouring the concrete, it doesn't push it out. All right, let's see what I got wood-wise. All right, so we're gonna go to the handy dandy scrap pile. Thought I heard something fall in there. Actually, some handy dandy scraps fell on the ground. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna have a big, oh, there's a big piece right there. Okay, so let's see if I can get that down. I'll tell you what, instead of toting this thing on, let's do it the smart way. Let's go get the golf cart and I'll drive out here and cut what I need. Get my measurements. Here we go. All right, so I need a measurement from there to the end of the concrete. And then I know it's gonna be 14 inches high. I just gotta measure how wide it's gonna be. Like I said, 14 inches high. 14 inches high. And then we're going to go. This should be 6 inches and 3 inches on each side. So that's 6 and 6, that's 12 inches wide. So 12 by 14, and my length goes from here to the end of the concrete. 49 and a half inches. 49 and a half. Let's put that way on this side, it should be. All right, 49 and a half, 12 by 14. All right, we chalked us a line at 49 and a half. So we're gonna cut that, and then I'll cut my 14-inch sections out, and then we'll make a box. All right, so we got it cut. Now we got to cut our 14-inch sections. All right, 14. So let's see if I can lay this up here. Chalk it. So this is going to be the end piece. I'll have to cut the pipe hole through out of that. All right, so this is the end piece. I'm going to square it off. All right, let's try this again. I'm gonna square it off so I can cut it. And again, I have to square in here. Okay, so then I'll have to cut a hole out of that for the end piece on the pipe. That'll be fun. That should be pretty easy. I'll drill a hole and then take my jigsaw and cut it out. It's a 6-inch hole, so I just have to get it right at 6 inches, maybe just a hair over to get it right. So let's do it. Okay, so real quick, I didn't get video of this here, but what I did was I got this set up 12 inches apart up against the building, squared it up right here. I'm gonna put some screws in this just to add some support. Make sure it stays 12 inches apart there across, and then when I put some braces on the outside, which I'll show you here, I want to make sure this is still 12 inches apart. If it's not, the wood, you know, may be bowed a little bit, and I can fix that. But see right here, it's right at 12 dead on. So what I'll do is cut me a piece of this that I can be 12 inches if I have one, and stick it in there. So I'll take a piece of wood. This is 12. That's 13, so I can cut this one 12. So let me mark it and cut it. Cut this off real quick. Stick it just inside here to hold it at 12 right now. Once I hold it at 12, this will help spread the board. I'll measure it, anchor these down to make sure that I can take this board out. That's at 12 right there. That's at 12. I could probably spread this one a little more, but I can do it here on the end. And I'll have to put one in on this end to hold it 12. So what I'll do is release this a little bit. Let's see, are we at 12? Just at it right there. So I can let this one off a little bit and kick it out. So that sets me at 12 right there. And I need to get this one in. This. Right there. That'll hold it. I'll put one across the top. So now I'm going to put one on the end, secure this up, maybe one right here, so I can hold that off, because I'm going to take that board and I've got to make the measurement, get the pipe on there. The pipe's got to go through it to come out the other side. That's what we're looking at now. And then put some sides on it, support it. All right, so I secured this up. I'm gonna take this piece off so I can slide the pipe out, run the pipe in, get my measurements from the bottom of the brick, cut this out so I can slide the pipe through this. Okay, now I'm gonna take this pipe out and slide this pipe in. All right, so we got this thing diagrammed out. We're gonna try to cut it out and mount it on there and slide the pipe through there. See if it works. All right. All right, so I got this anchored to this. Since I ain't got nobody to hold it, it'll hold it for me. And I'm gonna take this jigsaw and see if I can cut this hole out. Pray the Lord this works. All right, let's see if it works. All right, so this looks like it's gonna slide in nicely. There we go. I mean, it's dead on. As my pa-in-law used to teach me and tell me, I love it when a plan comes together. Okay, so that's what we got. I'm going to get some crete. I put the blocks at the bottom of this thing just to give it some support so it doesn't try to push out, and we'll put Satcrete in there, and I still got to dig this space out a little bit better, but we'll do Satcrete. And Eric Stumpy thought of a good idea. We may end up mounting another 2x4 in here in the smokehouse. Let me show you. We may mount one in here across the top of this, and we can just set the stove in here when we're not using it, since it'll keep it covered and no moisture, you know, and that way when we want to smoke, we just open the smokehouse door, pull out the stove, hook it to the pipe. So I think that's what we're going to end up doing, and we've got it. It's about cooled up completely off now, and I'll be able to get Stumpy to help me lift it in there. But this is set. We should be able to pour the sackcrete on that, and then we'll get the depth of this, fit the stove, have it set, and then hopefully in the next week or so I'll start putting posts down to build a frame over the top of this smokehouse, and we'll have it completely dried in. So all right, so there we go. I just got to clean up and help. Denise just got back from doing a market, help her put stuff up. So as Stumpy always says, I'm gonna swing it around. A simple life is a much more enjoyable life. Thank y'all for watching.